was Renee that were like trying to shoo out of here.
Or Jack.
Yeah, Jack's hard to shoo out. Soon it'll be Eliza. I just have too many kids. Maybe we should take some people.
That's a great idea. Get out your phone.
My screen still says it starts a few seconds ago. Oh, there we go. It's just behind on Facebook.
We are going to take people. We have
Facebook
one
was
person.
delayed.
Yay, welcome.
If you're here with us, take some people.
Help us take some
James,
people and let them know we're back and ready to go.
Who am I supposed to be helping into bed upstairs?
Jack and James getting him upstairs.
I'm gonna pick this up. You take the glue stick.
And the scissors. There you go, buddy.
Where's the lid?
At this point, it doesn't matter. You can just take it right upstairs. Take some orange paper with you. Bye.
Oh, we have 3 people.
Hey!
We're just taking a few minutes to take people.
If you're here,
If
take
you're
someone.
here, take some people. I know it's been a while. We were not here for 3 whole weeks.
And then, like, everything was in chaos down here, so...
It took us a while to set up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So...
Still going. There's people. We're at 2. We lost somebody.
Uh-oh,
Sorry.
we're boring.
So me getting ready for church this morning was interesting. Bri had to leave early, so he left at 8 because the stage was a mess from last night.
Oh, yes.
And and then we invited a friend to come to church. So she's sitting there waiting for us to go. And it was just a lot. So we're already kind of like running behind. And I grab, Kaden said she would like some chicken because she eats a fair amount in the morning in order to take her medication. And then she doesn't eat a whole lot, like she like sprinkles through, and then maybe more in the evening a little bit. So I go to take out the chicken, and a jar of strawberries that were delicious, the remaining, fell on the floor. And
I was waiting for you to knock your water over when you did that.
hi, Amanda. Fell on the floor and crashed glass all over the place, and strawberry and juice. So that was fun. So I cleaned that up, and then I start like doing other things and gave Kaden some water and to take her pill. And she spilled that all over the table, all over the floor. So I was like,
And your friend's just sitting there.
oh, fun.
Oh.
So I was like, well, because they were earlier, they're like, can we play Mario Kart? And I was like, no, we're about to leave. So I was like, you guys might as well play Mario Kart. Because like,
I
was
gotta
like,
clean up.
cleaning up. And so they played that for a little bit and cleaned up more. And then I got to the church, and the nursery lights were in darkness. So I'm not sure what happened with our helpers there. But so I was like, okay. And it was like a few minutes after 10. So I'm like going in the sound room, but it was weird because I haven't been to church. Like I was away for 3 weeks because I've just been sick, like one thing after another kind of thing. And so I'm like in church, I'm like, it was a weird, surreal feeling of like,
Hey, Shauna.
hey Shauna, hey
Hey,
Mom.
Donna.
Of like, okay, this is my first time in church. And then I'm like scanning for somebody to go in the nursery. So
That's funny.
anyways, we found somebody I'm thankful for.
It was a
Oh,
good
really?
Sunday for you to come back, considering all of the things that you had to kind of rush and do as you got there.
Yes.
And-
Yes, because then I realized that the person who was on activities was in service, but I could tell that they didn't remember they were on, and it would have made them feel really overwhelmed if they had to go do that. And then the other person, I whited out on my wall in my office, but forgot to put that they couldn't be there today because they're in Florida. And so then I was like, okay. And so I'm like getting activity together, and then I go to my mom, can you teach Bible? I don't care what Bible story you do, just something. And she was like, okay. And so she's like looking at the book. She's like, I need to go out and get ready. I'm like, thanks, Mom.
All hands on deck.
So it was just one of those mornings. And
Well, then it was funny because your friend that you had brought, who's not an adult, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so we know
Yeah.
that. Cadence's friend, yeah. So you go up to the front pew, and you guys have gotten separated, and she's kind of in the foyer, and she's like, "Do you know where Tanya is?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's sitting at the front pew," and like, this is, and I'm like, "You don't have to go up there. They're gonna dismiss for Sunday school really shortly. You
Oh,
can hang
no.
out here." And she was like, "Okay, good."
Funny. So where did Cadence go?
They were both together,
Oh, okay, good.
But-
that's good.
but it was just so funny because she was
She's
like,
like,
"Do you know where Tanya is?" And like,
She's at the front.
front pew.
Whoops.
Welcome to church. Sit in the front pew.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Aw.
Anyway, so we made it, but it was a lot. We're getting ready, and Kate, I said to Kate, it's like, I don't think we'll have time for check-ins, and earlier, and I said, but we'll see. And then she came up, she's like, no, I'm good to do check-ins. I'm like, we don't have time. We're late now, so we'll just have to take attendance for Sunday school, which really isn't a big deal. However, so many people have commented, especially like as a kid, to have a child there smiling and welcoming is very like family feeling, right?
Yes.
So because it's really not a big deal to take attendance in Sunday school, but it does give that kind of like feeling of welcoming, like we want your kids to feel welcomed
Yes.
here and stuff.
And it's helpful. I think it's really helpful for people who are new. Because
Yeah.
because they're dismissed
Yeah.
partway through, then you're like, we don't have any of your information. We don't
Yeah.
know who you are, and yeah, I like having the check-ins beforehand when
Yeah.
possible.
I do too.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say we were late too for church.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
I saw James and Renee come in after I had been downstairs and stuff like that.
I don't know where you were. When I came in, the nursery still was dark.
Yeah.
So I just took Eliza with me. But like the side that I went in was like really, really full. So we ended up having to sit at like the third pew from the front.
Okay. When I was in the sound room, I saw you down there.
And it was just both of the littles today were like so clingy. And so like we're trying to sing and do worship, and they're like climbing on me and want to be on me, and it was just, I held them all through worship.
Yeah.
But then it was really funny because I don't mind sitting up there at the front or whatever. But then Scott, I don't know if he didn't know I was sitting up at the front or if he just really didn't want to sit up the front, but he sat like way in the back. So then I was like, well, I'm going to go sit with my husband. But then it was like weird because, hey, Born Again Gamers, like the stream.
Thank you. Don't forget to like the stream.
It kind of feels like, so I was late, then I go sit at the front, and then when worship's done, I just like leave the front and sit in the back. And so I was like sitting in the back, and I was like, I feel awkward.
So funny.
But I
See,
overanalyze these things.
Yeah, you do. Because I was like, what side did you sit on at the back?
In the back, like the left overflow, the piano side overflow.
Oh, okay. So where we would normally, like my parents or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Shauna, thanks for liking the
Thank
stream.
you. Don't forget other people to like. Yeah, because I didn't know, because I know you were out for a few minutes or whatever during.
Yeah, well, and my
Yeah.
head was hurting this morning. I was hoping, because sometimes if I'm not on worship team, sometimes when I worship, my headache will go away. It did not go away after worship. It never goes away if I'm on worship team because it's just so loud that it doesn't help my headache at all.
Yeah.
But so then I went to get Advil, and then Renee was like, a few minutes later, she was like, Mom, I just feel really like awful. Can I have some Advil too? And I was like, okay. So we had to leave again to go get some
Okay.
Advil. So I was like, well, I guess I'm kind of glad we're sitting at the back if we're going to get up and
Move around so much.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my cold, as most people here who have known about it, but like I had a fever the first week that I wasn't there on Sunday, and then
oh yeah.
remember that?
Yes.
I had a fever, and then lost my voice. Got a weird ear thing that like just can't hear well still. I don't know. It's been
I
a go.
went to school and I was like, so she's got an ear infection, a collapsed eardrum, laryngitis, and there was another infection. There's 4 things.
I have no idea.
And it
But
was-
I feel
a
like,
sinus infection.
yeah, but I
And
feel
everyone
like,
just kind of went,
yeah. But I also feel like the doctors don't really know. Like,
it's like when they're like,
It's a
you have a
guessing game.
virus.
yeah, it's like, so I went and he's like, yeah, your eardrum's probably is collapsed, probably collapsed. You can't even see it, but he's like, your eardrum's probably collapsed because of all the congestion. So I was like, okay. And then he's like, yeah, so what will happen? That you'll get the,
Hey, Barb, thanks for
Barb.
liking the stream.
you'll have this like, because you're globally congested, so your eardrums would collapse. So he's like, I'll give you this like generalized decongestion that's like super strong. So I take it, and it clears up a bit, but then goes right back. And then at that point, I was in pain, like all like going up. And so I went back the next day, and she was like, yeah, it sounds like it's probably infection. I think it's time to put you on amoxicillin. But there's no real way. Like, she couldn't actually see anything in my ears. And
It's one of the downsides of not having a family doctor, right? Because every time you go to the hospital, you're seeing someone new.
new. So I don't know. So I finished my antibiotics like Tuesday. I think my hearing might be a little bit better. I don't know. So
You still seem to have trouble when there's noise.
yes, when there's a lot of noise, it's difficult.
Because I know
to
Brian and Scott were talking tonight, and you kept looking at me like, I can't hear you.
Yeah. If somebody else is talking, like it's difficult when there's multiple noise. But it's been interesting because of the fear that came up for me, especially when I didn't have a voice and I couldn't hear well, and didn't realize, like, it forced me to realize how much fear can go into many places.
Were you afraid of something specific, or it was just like
The
dread
fear,
fear?
it started with just being like fearful in not being able to do my regular jobs and different things. And then it just became a fear of like, what if I never get my hearing back? And those kind of fears, like, cause it just messed with my head. And then on Friday, I went to appointment with Cadence, and we were trying to figure out medication. And in the waiting room, all of a sudden I felt like just, again, that like fear, whatever. And just like, I even could see stars, like the little black spots or whatever. But so there's the fear and having to work through that. But decongestions can raise your heart rate, your blood pressure. So I think it was creating anxiety in me as well.
Okay.
Being on that decongestion. And I stopped that, and my anxiety has gone down. So I thought that was an interesting thing. But then when I stopped, my ears got a little bit more plugged, but I'm not as congested. Like, I do still have some, and I know people have said I sound different. I sound different to me anyways, because I'm hearing it like in my head. It's weird. But yeah, it's been a go, and I don't really know what to do.
One foot in front of the other.
One thing at a time. And that's that. So I don't know. But I keep saying, okay, God, you're giving me enough hearing to get through the day. He's given me enough hearing to hear my kids, to be able to keep doing things. Like,
You had an assistant on Thursday.
I had an assistant on Thursday, which was helpful because the kids are out of routine with having supply teachers, which is completely fair. EG Wife is watching on YouTube. Hi, EG Wife. Your voice is improved. How's your voice? Thank you, Donna. How's your voice doing? She dropped off a meal to us, which I'm very thankful. Jen organized some meals for us this week, which was very helpful. And Brian was like, I really appreciate it. So it just wasn't like crafted or Mr. Noodles every night.
So glad.
Because I wasn't
I was
able
like,
to.
Tanya's the lady who gets food for everybody else. And she's been so sick lately. And so I had offered to make you supper last Sunday. And then I went, why don't we just make suppers all week? So I
it
put
was-
it together kind of last minute, but
we
I'm glad.
really appreciated it because it was
Good night, Jack.
night, Jack. It was 2 weeks of anyways, it was fun. But so this week was really nice that it was
Food.
to have some food that was food.
Had thought and love. And
Yeah. Yeah. I did try. There was the first week, I didn't do too bad.
Okay. But then you get like
But-
cash and you're like,
And then that
yeah.
second week was rough.
Yeah.
And and then I felt bad because like I missed the birthday stream and I always like that was exciting and fun and I was looking forward to it and like I was like in tears most of the day, so it was fun. Anyways, but Donna dropped off a meal for us and she had laryngitis.
Oh.
So how's your voice? Did you get anything else or how's it going? She was hoping to be able to go back to work tomorrow. I was off multiple days. I was off 3 in
3
total, I think,
yeah.
from the 3 weeks. So
From
there was
school.
from school.
Yeah.
And I was home. I worked from home a bit at the church, but then there was days where I like couldn't do
Do anything.
anything. And I was just trying again to kind of keep kind of calm. When you are going to bed, put some deep heat rub under your ears and neck. I use A535. Helps drain the fluid from my ears. Sounds crazy, but my doctor told me to put it on the bottom of my feet too. I suffered for years. Really worked for me.
Well, she's
She's going to work. A535. I don't know if we have any. We have BioFreeze.
I feel like that's surprising that Brian wouldn't have a.
I think he used to, but I
I
don't
feel like
know
he
if
always
does.
had it in his baseball.
Yeah, he did.
baseball bag.
Interesting.
I don't notice how she
That's
didn't
really
say
cool.
her voice is better. She just said, "I'm going to work."
Yeah. Vicks works too behind the ears. Kayla, hi Kayla.
Hey, Kayla.
She sent Vic. You guys are tag team. I have an actually funny. So I put Vicks in my nose. Like I've told you this, right? So Brian, years ago. I was sick and I couldn't breathe, and Brian's like, "Well, just put a little under your nose." I didn't hear under, so I put it in my nose. I was like, "This works good," because I'm always stuffed up at night.
And it doesn't burn.
I'm probably just used to it. So I always, like, if I'm stuffed up, I put it on my nose, and I'm like, it's so funny to me that it started with him saying, like, put a little under, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, I'll shove it right up there. Like, I'll try the Vicks. I put it in my nose as well. I will try that, because Kayla sent me some videos to help, because she had some issues with her ears a while ago, and so I tried them. I did 20 minutes of this doctor person guy thing, and it's still the same. But I do hear like popping or clicking at times and stuff. It's not like just nothing. But I feel like I've tried to exercise my ears so much that it's like scabby here or something. Like it's sore.
You need to make some more earwax.
I need to, don't make good earwax. So. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious though. So maybe I told you this, but Mrs. Lamb on Thursday said, "Wow, like you've been really hit by a number. Did you hear this?" And then Emerson was like, "What number have you been hit by?" Which I love. It was very sweet. You've been really hit by a number. But yeah, so it's been a go, and I appreciate Prayers to.
Do you know whether you'll have an assistant on Tuesday, or do you think you'll be okay?
I think I'll be okay. The hearing with the kids wasn't as bad as I thought,
Oh, good.
but I definitely drop off and pick up were hard
Because it's a lot of extra commotion.
because there's like everyone in the hall and stuff, and I had the door shut a lot more than I normally do
Yeah.
when I was teaching. But it was helpful to have the support because trying to get the kids back into routine was a little bit tricky, and it allowed me time to focus really on that. And then the helper, like I got them to read a story the one time so that I could help the boy who was having some struggles keeping with the routine and stuff. So it was very appreciated that somebody was there, and my voice is stronger even than it was
Every day,
every
hear
day.
it's getting
So
better.
even than it was Thursday. So there was a few times where I was like, I need you to be my voice. Can you just tell them they'll hide up at the door? And I would just say it quietly to them because I'm like, I can't. I don't have it in me to keep going.
Projecting.
So I at home for a while was using an app. Did I tell you this?
No.
So I was using an app for the kids to give my voice a break. And so like in the morning, the one morning I don't know if they were up, but I was in the kitchen and I typed out a whole thing that they had to get ready for school. So and then I would click on it. Now sometimes it would jump the paragraph or whatever, but like, okay, it's time for you to brush your teeth. Can you please do this? Can you please do that? Whatever. Time to get your boots and stuff on. Micah loved it. I'm pretty sure he would prefer me to speak and communicate to him
Through
through the
that.
because
Did
I
it
didn't.
just speak for you?
Yeah, like it would just it would speak for me. Like I would play it and read it out. He loved it. Like he would respond so well to it. He woke up. He's like, "Are you going to use the app today to talk to us?" So
That's awesome.
yeah, he loved it. And so like I would play it, and he'd be like, and he wouldn't respond with words or anything, and just go and do it because he doesn't like to use a lot of words, right? So he likes to sometimes, but not with tasks and jobs and stuff. He wants to get right to the point and do. So yeah, but it was helpful just to get my voice, like especially when Brian was working.
Yeah.
Because my voice was getting tired. So like I would talk here and there, but it was nice to when I knew like ahead of time that I would need to say these things or get them to do, like empty out your backpacks, get your lunches, put them away, whatever.
Yeah.
It was helpful, but yeah, I took a lot of saltwater baths and drank so much tea and broth and water.
You were trying anything anybody suggested to you. You're like, okay, I'll try that.
I felt like the first week, so I don't know. One of the weeks, I was very like trying to get rid of the symptoms. And then I feel like with whether it was the decongest or whatever, that fear, like that anxiety in me was a lot. And that second kind of like last week was just trying to stay calm and trust God and rest in that and bring before him all of those feelings that creep in with the fear and stuff, and just kind of bring that before him and like worshiping, doing devotion, like getting into the word, like just really trying to focus my mind again.
Yeah.
And then I actually watched a video which I really liked, and Scott actually shared it on his stream about how we're not like sheep. We're considered sheep, but we're not supposed to carry load. We're not load-bearing animals,
Oh.
right? Like, so a sheep is not a load-bearing animal, and we're not supposed to bear the weight. And we're supposed to give our concerns to God, right? Because we are not meant to carry that weight. We're not load-bearing creatures, right?
Interesting.
We're meant to be led and to rely on God and for him to take care of us and to guide us and direct us.
Cool.
But we're not meant to. Another video that I thought was really good and a good reminder for me, as well as Cadence, because even during that week, I feel like God was showing me a lot of areas with Cadence and how fear has come in for her and anxiety and just, yeah. So the other video I really liked is, I forget the Bible verse, like maybe like mourn with those who mourn, whatever. I'm not sure exactly which one, but it was one like that. And he was saying like, we are supposed to step in, empathize, be with that person. But when it goes too far is when we take on what their struggle is.
Right.
When we take it on, because again, we're not load-bearing animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like creatures or whatever, but when we take it on, which I am bad for, Cadence is bad for as well. When we take it on, that's where it crosses a line.
Well, and
that
every
we're not
gift
supposed to.
that we have has a downside, right?
Absolutely.
And so being aware of what
Yeah.
that downside is so helpful to just be mindful of, right?
Yeah.
Because every gift is also a curse kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was good. But then it was weird because So I had such like, because I'm somebody who doesn't like to stay at home a lot. And I was,
home a lot more than I think during COVID.
yeah, and I was home a lot. Like I would usually get out once a day, but I think there was days I wouldn't.
At least as like COVID was all four of you in the room. And,
Yeah.
like no escape. Whereas here, like there's coming and going and at least change of
Yeah.
atmosphere kind of thing.
But it was strange because I was excited, like on Wednesday night, to be able to go. I am talking about myself a lot. Brian joked that I would. I'm like, on Wednesday, I was like, okay, like I went to work and I was like, okay, it's nice to be able to do something. And then Wednesday night at ET Kids, and it was so overwhelming. I wasn't expecting that because there was so much noise, and I couldn't like focus on what noises were happening, what I needed to listen to, who I was trying to listen to. And I kept yawning, like it was almost like overstimulating and whatever, or processing, I don't know, but I just kept yawning. I'm gonna yawn now. I talked about it, but I kept yawning.
It's contagious.
I kept yawning, and I was there like 45 minutes of like a lot of people, right? And Jen's like, why don't you go to your classroom and like whatever? I'm like, I just want to go home. Like I was exhausted.
2 weeks in a row, I think. Didn't you go home 2 weeks in a row? I feel like
Was I even there the one week?
don't know. Maybe not.
No, I was. I was in the sound room. The week that I had lost my voice.
Oh, that's right, because Mackenzie wasn't there.
Mackenzie wasn't there, and I was in the sound room. But I don't. Maybe I did go home early.
One of the weeks, I feel like you went home.
I went
early.
home like right away. Remember on the week with the sound, when I was in the sound room, I said like we're leaving. Like my kids were second on the list, and Brian didn't even know. And I was like, we're going home, and you're like, okay, I'll let him know, because I was like, I'm done. Like my voice was so like I was so tired. And then yeah, this past week I went home early. So that kind of threw me off. And then Thursday, I was actually like Wednesday night, I was like, I don't know, like it was a really good respite of having time with God and resting, and like, yeah, I was like, I don't know if I want to get back into busy swing of things. So, which I wasn't expecting as well.
Yeah, it's very different.
It was very different than what I am. So I went and taught, and I was glad I still wasn't feeling well, but I was glad I was there because I really felt for the students that were struggling with different routine and stuff. And the supply teachers are amazing. I'm so thankful for them, but I was glad